your partner, right, the love of your life, conceived a child with someone else while you were on a relationship break, is that a deal breaker?
Yes.
Woo! It is hot in here.
You didn't need a second. You didn't just need a second to think about it.
Yeah, I thought. Do you want to think it
Consider all options.
Am I allowed to tell you what I think now?
Yeah, go on.
Okay.
What is it? Is it a deal breaker, Linda?
Yeah, it is a deal breaker. Do you know what it is? The issue isn't dating someone who already has kids before you met them. But for me, and now bear with me, ladies, because what I'm about to say may come across a certain somehow. But for me, it's either that when you guys broke up, this person really didn't think you guys were ever going to get back together, so they just continued living their life, or they became irresponsible. And I'm not saying that it's a one-sided thing. I'm not saying that it's always, the woman who tricked him or whatnot. I know stuff happens. But for me, it's like, how do you now continue where you left off when there is a whole human being to consider? There's a whole attachment to another woman that will forever be in your relationship. And this was only obviously, I don't know how long this break we're talking about. Obviously, if it's like a 5-year break, for me, to be honest, a 5-year break, a 5-month break, I think my answer is pretty much the same. Like a 10-year break, the same thing. Actually, maybe it's 10 years. I might be a bit more lenient because that's a whole scope of time.
That's a decade, girl. That's a break up.
Yeah.
At 10, we are right. At 10, we can do it. But I think, the shorter amount of time we were apart, the bigger no it is for me. I'm sorry.
Okay, I please want to come on this. It's not a deal breaker for me, to be honest. Because a break is a break is a break. Like, if you don't, I'm like Ross from Friends. Like when Ross and Rachel broke up and they were like, we were on a break. And he said, I'm like, I'm fully with that. If you don't want them to be with anyone else or date someone else, work through the issue that you have and don't take a break. Like, if you're on a break, you really expect them not to date anybody else or see anybody else.
Said that.
So we're happy with them to have the sex.
I'm saying if they
but once they have the baby, then there's a problem.
Have the sex. Yes. Precisely.
We are on a break. If I'm on a break, that means that for me, a break is a breakup. I don't care if you say we need a break. If you don't want that, set the rules of your break. Say, are we allowed to see other people? If we're not, then you can get upset. But if it's a break, it's a break. You've broken. It broke.
I don't believe in this break stuff. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't believe in break. I believe in breakups. I don't
It's
believe
a
in breaks.
breakup.
So,
Go on,
thoughts. No, I have. I think mine relies heavily on circumstance, because I think if I was with someone, because I think sometimes, I know you guys said, I don't believe in this break stuff, but sometimes you meet the person who you think you're going to be with for the rest of your life very young, and you don't really get a chance to explore like being a teenager or being in your early 20s, or like being with other people. Like, I have friends who have been with their partners for years and have let me just not reveal their business.
Yes.
Almost. You know what? We're on the internet. Let me just not.
Move on.
Real close to. Let me not do that. But there's a lot of things that you need to explore within yourself, and I feel like sometimes when you stay in the same relationship that you've stayed in from when you were a young age, you don't always lose that teenage mentality. So if you were with someone from the age of 15 to 25, you can kind of like stifle yourself and still be a mental 15-year-old and not have developed as much as you would have if you were by yourself, when at the same time you could also still be wholly in love with this person and know that you absolutely want to be with them, but you still need that space to be a human being and to be on your own and to be independent. So there are circumstances where I do agree with a break and not a breakup, but for me personally, I think that if I love you, and we've come back together, and then you have conceived this whole other child, I would consider staying, coming back into our unionship on the basis that I also like this woman. Because if you have a child, I'm going to love that child like it's my own child, but I also need to love the person that you created it with. And if I find it difficult to do that, if I can't even at the bare minimum,
Luanda, girl, you were living in cow cuckoo land. I'm sorry. I wanted to say it last week, and I'm gonna say it this week. You were like last week. You said last week. You were like, when you want to be with someone, you want all of the family and the siblings to get along, and you get on with their siblings, and they get on with siblings. That's not real life. It's not real life. It's not real life that you're gonna get along with everybody. And if you're gonna say this person,
you're not gonna get along with everyone. You're not going to get along with everyone all the time, but at the bare minimum, you respect these people. What we were talking about last week was blatant disrespect. If I have gotten into a relationship with you and you've like fathered a child with a woman that I can't even respect, then it's not going to work out. We have arguments with our siblings, with our parents all the time. Like, I'm not saying like it's going to be plain sailing every single day of the week, but I'm saying there has to be mutual respect and there has to be love there. If I can't love this woman, then I can't get back together with you.
Luanda,
what is it that you're not understanding?
Look, the thing that I'm not understanding is that you ain't dating that woman. As much as she might cause difficulties or whatever.
Co-parenting her child.
You just went through this whole explanation talking about this person could be the love of your life. You might be this, that. If this person is the love of your life and you have spent a couple years apart, they now have a child and there's a difficult woman, you're going to say you're going to let go of the love of your life because of this external woman that doesn't live in your household.
No, there's a difference between like difficult and me like not having any respect or me like not having any positive feelings towards you. I will happily enter into a blended family. I'm not going to enter into an unhealthy blended family. It's not going to happen.
Look,
me as the single person has this choice whether or not to walk away from this situation, and I will walk away from it if this other person is like a large negative factor in our lives, because they're going to be in your life, in your family for the rest of it.
Look,
and that's why it should be a deal breaker.
Please, tap me in. Thank you. Sorry, guys, I just want to jump in. I agree with the beginning what Luanda says. It depends on the circumstances. Where I disagree is about the loving the woman thing, just because it depends on the circumstances of which this baby has been made. Because it could be we were on a break and it was a one-night stand, she got pregnant, he don't even love her, so why am I going to love her? That kind of thing for me. Do you know what I mean? But if they were in a little bit of a relationship, but then they conceived a child, that's where it gets different for me. Because even if you had come to me now and like you and the woman are no longer together, but you did have a bit of a thing and now she's having your baby, I think as much as I love you, I would press for you to make your family work first. And that's just me in my mind, because I'd be like, I want you to try to make your family work. Like, you are about to have a family. I don't really know if you should be focused on me over here when you've got a whole child over there. But if it was a one-night stand and you weren't really with her, then I think it wouldn't be a deal breaker, but I do acknowledge that it would be very, very difficult to now understand, like, especially if it's your first child, it'd be like, oh my God, like, she's having your first baby, not me. Like, that is how I would feel. But then again, it depends on even if I want to have kids. See, I'm just so because if I decide that I don't want kids, but now you've got this baby, I would kind of feel a little bit relieved, like, okay, oh, thank God, the pressure's off me. Somebody else is having a child, at least you have one, and so now, like, we can just be cool the rest of our lives. But that still won't negate that outside of the child, I'm still going to have to deal with this woman the rest of our lives. Yeah. So I'm with Luanda, where we need to have a common ground where we can have a healthy parenting tribe space.
Yeah, but I don't think it's ridiculous to want a healthy relationship.
But I think that has to be more from the woman versus me. And the reason why I say it has to be more of the woman versus me, because I got my man, so it's fine. But she might resent me because I got her baby father. So I think the issue would be more on her side. So that's what I feel on the side of
let me be very clear. I was not saying
Come on, Sophie.
Look, I'm sorry, I'm not going to let it go. I was not saying that you're ridiculous for wanting a happy home. I'm saying, for a lot of people, that isn't the case, and people have to make the best of the situation. Now, when you're talking about, oh, well, I want to be able to respect her and this, that, and other, you choose to respect someone by the actions that you take and the words that you use and the language that you make. The respect that you give to someone does not need to be dependent on whether they deserve that respect or not. If someone's disrespecting you, you can still choose to show them the respect that they don't deserve, because you value yourself and you have worth in yourself, and saying, however you act, act, that's not going to determine how I act, because I respect myself enough to give you what you deserve, even if you're coming at me a bit crazy. So for me, I think it's very different when you meet someone and you're going to be like, actually, I really like them, but you're going to be like, I'll throw you away because there's plenty of good men out there. I don't know if there are.
So I think I don't think you understand, because again, I talked about this last week when I said, like, even when I meet like my partner's mother, and if they're disrespectful, I'm still never going to be disrespectful towards you because I have respect for you. But there are people that I have met in my life that I want absolutely nothing to do with. I don't want anything to do with you. And I'm saying, if that person is the one that you fathered a child with, I have the choice to remove myself from the situation. Like, I don't have to be here. If it's going to cause more negativity than it's worth, then let me remove myself from the situation. And what you were just saying, Anissa, like, I think if you have a partner and then like a mother of a child that's not yours, it's everyone's responsibility. It's not going to be more on her or more on me, because I could then, like you said, you could then end up resenting them because you're having a baby for the first time and it's not with me. There's so much going around, so everyone needs to be on the same page of like how we're treating each other, what we will and what we won't do. And I think that it makes for a healthy life for the child, because now you have a whole other person to consider. And like I said, I will be loving that kid as if it's my own kid, but I also need to have a level of respect for the woman that you made it with.
But see, ladies, that's why I think all in all it's a deal breaker. And when I say deal breaker, I gotta come back to my point. Because when I say deal breaker, I don't necessarily mean, because I think the word deal breaker means that it's a no, and it means it's a definite no. I almost want to say that because it's almost like an easy life. And don't forget, I'm not saying if you've met someone who already has a child, because I think that dynamic is very different to being with someone who you've been with and then you've broken up. That person has, like for example, is it D Wade and Gabrielle? Yeah. So, I respect anyone who can do it. Like, each to their own. And if you can do it, make it work. And, here's the thing. Not every single baby mother is a troublemaker, but not every single baby mother is not a troublemaker. Like, some are very, bitter. So if you can make it work, and if you can, make a happy, healthy family unit for you, the child, your partner, and the woman, then, good for you. Like, I'm happy for you. But for me, I just don't think I even want to put myself into that extra drama, But I do want to ask you ladies a question I just thought of, right? Us women are here debating this.
Yeah.
But do you think men would have a problem if it was the other way around? Do you think so, Soph?
Yeah, 100%. Men have some very weird dynamic about, and like, a man has had a baby, it's a baby, you're kind of off limits now. If a woman has children, men seem to usually be more reluctant to get with a woman that has children than a woman does to get with a man that has children. It seems like for men, it feels like a guy has marked his territory by having a baby with a woman. So it's kind of like, oh, that's kind of like someone else's situation going on there. So, and I think that's like a really unhealthy bias. But I think it would be different for a guy. I think a lot of guys I know would just walk away and be like, she ain't the one. So I'll find someone else.
I agree with Sophie. I think a lot of my male friends would have been like, nah, sorry, it's just not what it's gonna be. And it's, as Sophie said, it's that whole territory thing of, that's like why I think a few of my male friends don't currently date women with children, because they're always like, but the child's not mine. It's like, of course the child's not yours, it's her child. But that's literally how they think. It's like, well, it's not mine. They've got this whole mine thing. It's like children. But do you know what? But Lindy, what you were saying really made me think back as well. I think it would be an absolute deal breaker for me if his behaviour during our relationship has been not great, if that makes any sense. Like, say, for example, throughout our relationship, you had been cheater, pumpkin eater, and now we've gone on break, and now all of a sudden we're going back together, but you've stopped your cheating ways, but now you have a baby. To me, it would just be a reminder of you and all these other women that you love so much that you cannot let go, and you are always with them. It would just be like a final nail in the coffin, and I'd be like, rah, no, I've got to go. So if he was not a cheater, pumpkin eater, maybe I could stay. But if he was, then I'd have to go, because it'd be one more thing for me to let go.
I had like a male friend who said to me, like, oh, I wouldn't date a woman with a child. And I said, why not? And he said, because I'll never be the priority in that person's life. It's always going to be the child. And I was like, is that a bad thing? It goes back to the thing of like men wanting mothers instead of partners, right? Like, why wouldn't you want to see a mother provide everything for their child, you can still have a healthy relationship that isn't, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not a child, why would you be threatened by a child's existence?
I'd look, for me, it's still the same thing. Like, if you don't want to have these issues, don't go on a break. Make it work. Because people, I'm being serious. Like, studies will show you that people who break, get back together, break, get back together, break, get back to break, it's not going to work out. It's not a good remedy. There is something that you can't get past is the reason why you keep breaking. If it's one break and you get back together, that's fine. But for me, if you want to stay together, you're going to have to work through these tough issues. So either make it work, don't make it work. And if you decide to break, deal with the consequences.
So you say what? One break and they're done. You can't do 2-3 breaks.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Break up. No, I'm not, because there's something that we can't. I've done it before, and it means that we're not meant to be. We cannot seem 100%. To make it work. That's what's going on. It's not an issue. We can't seem to make it work. So we have to just decide that as much as we feel like we're meant to be together, we're not. Let's just wish each other the best and keep it moving.
There was also Steph and Aisha Curry, because I was talking earlier about young people getting together in long-term relationships and then feeling like I haven't had a chance to explore that much with other people or just be by myself. Steph and Aisha, I think they were either high school sweethearts or together from college. Yeah, that's so young, right? And they actually considered going on a break and, you know, experiencing entanglements. And then they decided to stay together. And as far as I'm aware, they're still together.
They're married with 3 children.
They're meant to be. They are meant to be, baby. Beautiful. I love when love works out. That's what I like.
We love to see it.